Hello everyone and welcome to a wonderful game from the semi-finals of the Junior Speed Chess Championship. It is Pranav versus Gukesh, and this is a game from the Blitz section, but also as there are a couple of Blitz sections, this is 5+3, there's also 3+2 I believe, and then there's 1+1. So same as in the General Speed Chess Championship, only this is the Junior Speed Chess Championship, and it's again one of those games that shows us how you should always play the Evans Gambit, otherwise, well, bad things will happen as they always do. So let's check it out. Pranav has the white pieces and he opens with pawn to e4. We have pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and now bishop to c4, going for the Italian game. Bishop to c5, the Giuoco Piano, and now pawn to c3. Not going for the strongest move, but pawn to c3, the main line of the Giuoco Piano. Knight to f6 and now pawn to d4, striking in the center. E captures on d4 and now pawn to e5. This is the center attack, and black pretty much has only one good reply, and that is pawn to d5. Now, I remember in the olden days when I was only beginning to play chess, I loved to play this with white. If for some reason I didn't go for the Evans Gambit, you know, it was rare, but there were some instances where, for example, I didn't know it yet existed, then I didn't go for it, and then I wouldn't play the strongest bishop to b5 move. I would take, and then my opponent would take, and I would think that I was always better, but white is never better in positions like these. Okay, you will capture here, black will play rook to g8, and you will even castle, and it looks really good. You've messed up his pawn structure and everything, but let's say black plays d3. You can play rook e1 check, black will defend, then bishop to e6 comes, then the queen is defended, black castles queenside, and you just have to deal with the passed pawn on d3 for a very long time. Okay, you will undermine it with b3, but still it's going to be very hard for white to play this. So instead, after this d5 move, the absolute best is bishop to b5. If any of you are still playing this instead of the Evans Gambit, just, you know, so you know. Knight to e4, and now c captures on d4. Attacking the bishop, we have bishop to b6, and now knight to c3 is the absolute main line, bishop to e3, the second most popular move, so still very, very strong, and the bishop to g4 by Gukesh. And now there is a game from 2017 from the World Blitz Champion, from the Chinese Blitz Championship between Yunggao Wan and Yi Shu that ended by black winning, but here we have pawn to h3, and it is now as of move 9 that we have a completely new game. So okay, bishop to h5 by Gukesh, and now knight to c3. We have castles finally, and white also castles, and here you have to figure out, do you want to capture on d4 or not, because it is possible. Problem is it yields only a draw. If knight captures on d4, it's a really wild line. Okay, you can't move the knight is obviously pinned. Bishop captures on d4, and now bishop captures on f3. Now the white queen cannot capture because of bishop captures on d4, so you will play g captures on f3, and now queen to g5 with check will force a draw. King to h1, now queen to f5, going for the h3 pawn, and that's pretty much it. Let's say f captures on e4, queen captures on a3 check, king to g1, and now you just play bishop captures on d4, queen captures, and now queen to g4 check, and the queen will force a draw with queen to h4, queen to g4, and so on. So it looks nice, but nothing more than a draw. So instead, Gukesh plays pawn to f5, pawn to f6, also playable as it offers more choices. It also puts pressure on white center, so black can capture and open up the f-file, but Gukesh decides to play it like this. Pawn to f5, and now we have knight to e2. Very interesting move, as it allows the capture on f3. What probably should have been played here is just e captures on f6 en passant, and then the idea was, of course, knight captures, b captures, and queen captures, putting this immense pressure on the f3 knight. Okay, let's say bishop to e2, and rook a to e8. Black gets a full mobilization of his pieces, but you know, it's a game, and no one is better here. But instead, after f5, Pranav tried a knight to e2. Now, if you don't react, of course, the knight is coming to f4. So bishop captures on f3, g captures, and now knight to g5, putting pressure on both f3 and h3. And here, how do you defend? Well, best would be f4. It was not played in the game, but it would be best. And now if knight to f3 check, you simply attack the knight. There's no time for the queen to get into the game. But instead, king to g2 was played right away, and now pawn to f4. This is a spectacular move by Gukesh. It seems like a pawn sacrifice, but not really. You are undermining the d4 pawn by removing one of the defenders. So knight captures on f4, knight captures on d4, we have bishop captures on d4, bishop to e2 was maybe a little bit better, but okay, it's blitz, bishop captures on d4, and now rook captures on f4, now even puts more pressure on the f3 pawn, bishop back to e3 attacks the rook, and now rook captures on f3. I'm just going to show it because it's a lot of fun. Knight captures on h3 is instant resigns, as there's no good way to defend this. Queen to h4 is coming next if you capture the knight, and of course if you capture here, then knight captures on f4 check, and it's a forced checkmate. Doesn't matter where you go. Let's say king to h1, the queen is coming to h4 with check, and that's pretty much it. King g1, queen to g3 with check, king to h1, and queen to g2 with checkmate. And all of the other moves aren't much better. So after knight captures on h3, there's really not all that much you can do. But okay, like I said, once again, it's blitz after bishop to e3, rook captures on f3 was played, and now bishop captures on g5. The final mistake, but it wasn't salvageable either way. So queen captures on g5 was played, king captures on f3, and now rook to f8 with check. We have king to e2, and now feel free to pause the video and try to finish this king hunt for Gukesh while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding this beautiful move. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, indeed it is mate in 4, and that is rook captures on f2. This is what Gukesh played, and he was in this position on move 21 that Pranav resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. There are a couple of moves you could play if you capture with the rook. It doesn't really do all that much. Queen e3 check, only move king to f1, and queen captures on f2 will be checkmate. You could also ignore the rook, play king to e1, but still queen to e3 with check. You can block with the bishop even, but now rook captures on f1 with check. Only move is king captures, and then queen to f2 or g1 will be checkmate. You know, it all depends on what you prefer. And of course, if you play, if you just go up the board, king to d3, then a nice queen to e3 will also be checkmate. So there you have it. White went for the main line, the calm line of the Giuoco Piano, and lost in 21 moves after Gukesh beautifully played this rook captures an f2 move. But again, you could also play the Evans Gambit, and you might also lose, but you will you will fight for glory and immortality. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Also, if you ever encounter this, if you play the bishop to c5 line and your opponent does not go for the strongest move, you will now know how to punish them if they misbehave a little bit in the middle game. So yeah, once again, really hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Mesa Miaya, David Quintilian, John Anderson, Daniel Tayako, and Andrei Lushnikov for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and everything else that's happening in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And yeah, I realized I still haven't fixed John's name, so sorry about that, Mr. John. I will do it right now. That is no way to behave. So there we go. All right, John's name is now full. The force has been restored, and we can now end the video properly. See you soon.